Good morning and welcome to Devil's Lake State Park. I am here to right a wrong. Several years ago, I did a series of tours of the campgrounds here at Devil's Lake State Park. They were driving tours. I came out here on a beautiful fall day and drove through all the campgrounds and did a separate tour of each campground. Since then, I have redone the Northern Lights campground. I have yet to do the Ice Age campground, and that's what I'm here today to do. I'm here almost a month before they officially open. So you're gonna be able to see into every site. Nobody's using the sites. They are not completely filled in with greenery, so you'll be able to see into the sites a little better. However, they may not all be cleaned up and camping ready yet. So give them some leeway on things not being ready quite yet. That entire section is closed right now. I can't drive up there, so my first challenge is going to be a hike up the Ice Age Trail to get to the Ice Age Campground. Almost lost you there. Fun space. Well, here's hoping that I get enough battery and memory card for this. 301 through 390, so that's almost 100 sites. 401 through 535, that's over 100 sites. So we're looking at a little over 200 sites here. The split here between the two is where the camp store is. Ice, firewood, groceries, that's what they boast. So part of it that way, part of it that way, and let's get to it. All right, I forgot how big this place is. You got maintenance going on in the background, but we're gonna do 301 through 345 first, then we'll do the other part. Right by the entrance is the shower building. On the other side of that is already a trailer, so they may be getting camp hosts in place early. All right, 301 right here, nice open space. These campgrounds are more rustic than the others. So these are really meant more for tents, small vehicles, pop-ups, that kind of thing. 302, 303 are a pair. Book it with a friend. This one apparently comes with a baseball in it. We'll play some baseball. All right, moving on. Whole bunch of pair sites here. 304 and 305 together. Interesting, there is another picnic table. Fire rings right next to each other. Seems redundant, but call it two sites that way. 306, 307 on the other side over here. Not a place I'd park anything resembling an RV. This is a steep slope driveway on both of these sites. 308 on its own. You can see into these right now. You wouldn't be able to in the summer. I'm sure this all fills out nicely. Nice isolation, great place for tents over there. 309. Ooh, this one's a little rough. I don't really see a great place for a tent anywhere in this. There's a lot of grassiness, but it's got a lot of unlevelness. Several balls for the dogs and even a little frisbee hiding back there, but maybe there's a flat spot up top there. I don't really recommend that one. 310. This one is a nice one. Highly recommend this one for a tent site. Beautiful tent site. 311. Better than 309, but still not great. There's a lot of unlevel stuff, but there is a flat spot over there for a tent. Not grassy though. 312, you can put a long RV in here if you want. You got plenty of sun coming in for solar, so you'd survive out here. Great grassy areas in the back. Really nice site, gonna have some good cover in that one. 313, very short pad on here. Kind of slopes uphill after that. You might find a spot for a tent up there, really where the picnic table is. 314 and 316 over here. Nice space over there. Plenty of room for the two. 315, fairly short pad, then it goes swoops uphill again. Up on the ridge there. There is some good places for tents. 317 and 318 are a pair, but you do have a divider in the middle. It kind of connects back around on the back side. So you can work with this in many ways. Not much of a pad here though. Better pad on this side. There's a nice spot tucking up back over there. All right, across from the pit toilet, we have 319 and 320 a pair. There are a lot of pairs in this campground. Nice, just open space. Make it work how you want. Oh, there is a second fire ring behind the picnic tables. 321, nice big open, long spot for a pad if you want. You can get plenty of sun in here. So you can get some solar if you care about it. And a nice grass area next to the pit toilet. Across from that, 322, this is a shady spot. This is gonna feel like your own private grotto. Park a vehicle right up front and you will be hidden back here amongst the trees. And you'll still see the stars at night. This would be a nice spot back here tucked away. All right, 323, another tucked in spot, but without the grass. This one has no shade, no sun coming in at all. So it is all gravelly space back there. 324, 325, 324, slopes up. I got two picnic tables in here. I wonder if I connect, oh, okay, so 324 is here. That must be 326 coming in the other side. So it's backed up, sort of shared, but not with a close entrance. So all of that is a shared space, 324, 326, 325 across the way. This is not a place you can go wandering back in the woods. There is a fence back in there. But it is sort of grassy in the back because a little sun does get in there. This is the entrance to 326, sharing with 324 over there. You do have a decent pad, not a lot of height with that tree there. 327 over here, tucking down back into the woods. That one's a little rough. It does not look great to me. I would not recommend. 328 and 330, a pair here, close pads, just a big open space in the back to work with. So it's not very well defined between two spaces, definitely shared. Over here, this one I like. I didn't like that one. 329 I do like. This one, get in here, nice little spot, picnic table and fire ring there. Nice grassy area over here, kind of clearing to the back, but again, you can't go wandering in the woods there. All right, 331 and 332, two very different sites. 331, that should be a great place to bring a small trailer that you can put anywhere in here. It's a little torn up right now. If it's wet, watch out. It's currently missing its fire pit. They'll figure that out soon. 323, all grass, water source in the middle of it all. Pad over here, swoops up as it gets further in, but lots of grass to work with. 333 and 334, another pair. That's what all these are. They go a lot faster when they're all pairs. Big gravel pad up front, fairly wide for two vehicles, and then lots of room to play back there. 335 over here, bit of an uphill slope on the pad. They've been working on something back there. Hopefully the repairs will happen, but there's still room for tents back there. 336 is a beauty site if you don't need sun. This is absolutely great little private site. Once all the trees fill out, no one will know you're back here. You'll be totally hidden away in here. 337 here. We're basically on the, coming back around on the loop here. Plenty of grass, big pad here. If you don't need all the pad, you can set up tents on there. Fire ring out there, a little tuck around space. 338 is next. Tucked back in over here. It's gonna get some sun in there. Little downhill slope to it, but there are flat spots for tents in the back. 339 and 340, two distinct pads. This is some of the clearest pads I've seen for parking on, and lots of grass, soft grass. Enjoy that one. 341, oof, big uphill slope, and continues uphill all the way back. That's the camp store right behind it. But grassy back there. 342, 343 across from each other, kind of similar. This one's got an uphill slope. There's nothing level about that pad, and there's no level place to put a tent. Get some leveling blocks for your tent. I don't know. Good luck with that one. It's nice and soft though. And then over here, this one tucks away nicely all the way back, flat all the way through. All right, 344, 345. Camp Host is 345. 344 here, fairly flat pad. Wouldn't take much to level in there. Lots of grass. You get plenty of sun in the sky in that site. And our last site in this cluster, across from the shower, is A4, the accessible site. Not as accessible as some others. It's just paved, they have power, and they're across from the restroom, but there's no direct path to it. Not the most accessible site in the system. Okay, 351 through 390. Let's head on up, check those out. I may be competing with a lawnmower. All right, 351, 352. 351 on the inside loop. It's all upward slope, but there are some flat spots up top to enjoy in a beautiful grassy site. 352, downhill slope. But again, there are some flat spots to work with, wide open to the shower house over there. 354, nice flat pad. Site's not quite as flat. Again, pretty open to the shower house. 355, there is a nice level spot in there on the pad. Another really nice spot for a tent over there. And then it's kind of swooped down towards the fire pit. All right, 355, flat pad, fairly long. Again, we're still no electricity out here. None of these except accessible sites have power. Lots of grassy space out back, pretty open out back to the road. 356, fairly level pad, fairly long. Got two picnic tables back there and a very tight space of grass. Maybe if you burn all that wood behind there, that brush would be a little bigger. Okay, I'm doing 358 before 357 because I'm here. That's a nice flat level pad. Kind of swoops up. Picnic table must be over there somewhere. It's missing its picnic table. That'll all get straightened out soon. 357. Oh, that's a sweet site here. Pretty level pad. All that will fill in with leaves and a lot of grass and all the solar you need. Okay, 359, 360, 359. Not as big as the last one. Not a bad site. Lots of grassy space back there. 360 over here, a little longer. Downhill slope to the pad though. And a bunch of space back there that looks grassy or soft for tents. All right, we got a pit toilet, water source, 361. This one's rustic. It's all dirt, it's all wooded. Still got some sun in here, but all flat through here. You could tuck a teardrop trailer in there or something. Use this in many different ways, but it's all dirt. 362. Flat-ish pad, then it swoops up, and then there's another big flat space up top. So if you get something maneuverable, something that's got some clearance, you could be parking way back in here and tuck yourself into this woods along the hillside here. It's actually pretty nice back there. 363, all downhill slope coming in here. No soft spot, it's all gravel, and then it drops off the edge of the earth. So, not my favorite one. It might work for you. Right now, I got a view all the way to the east, to the west bluff over there, but that won't last. 364, this one's much better. No view off the back, but you're not gonna get it anyway. Big grassy area, you can hook around over here, picnic table and fire ring tucked away in the woods there, and a little bit of ravine, then up the hill off the back. 365, fairly short, wide sight, all gravel, and then it just falls off the edge of the cliff. You could put a trailer across back there and get a little sun into that area if you want to, if you're a good trailer driver. Over here, completely different story. Where are we? 366. We got our slopey pad. This one definitely tents only. You're gonna hate it if you try to put a trailer in here. Really nice space back there. Grassy, soft dirt, but no gravel back there. That's kind of nice. Then it drops off into a ravine behind. All of that's gonna be green, and you're still gonna be able to see the stars. 367, sloping down the whole way. This is a slopey pad. Sandy, looks like a sandy space in the back for tents. It's all pretty flat. Once you get past the gravel, it's actually a fairly flat space, but then it falls off the cliff. 368, kind of a special site. You don't even see it right now. Just a big slopey pad. I could probably find a level spot for my Class B here, or a pop-up trailer or something small here. But then you come around the corner. It's all fairly sandy up here. Nice spot to put a tent over there. And you'll just be in your own little world back here. 369 across from that, a little downhill slope. Another sandy pad over there. That's what you got on this one. After that, we got a bit of a gap. All right, 370. Gotta find the signs on the ground. 370 and 371 would make a great pair site, but you definitely would still have your own privacy and easy access between. They're very similar, just mirrored images of each other. Slopey pad, level spot. Slopey pad, level spot. They're almost identical, just mirror images of each other. And across from a pit toilet. 372, tucking back in. You have to watch out for these glacial erratics laying around. That is not local rock. Work your way in here. Pad kind of comes back into this area, and then you have some more sandy area in the back. Definitely no grass. This one's not going to see any sun during the day once all of this fills out. There's almost no sky up there. 373 on the inside. None of these inside ones back up to anybody. This one's a fairly simple, straightforward gravel throughout, and stop at the tree. That is an interesting little tree back there. Anyway, across from there, 374 and 375 are a pair. These are a split pair, so you definitely have different spaces between the two. And that's an interesting row of trees back there. You can go explore off in the woods here very easily. If you're looking for grass, I got grass in this round. 376 and 379, that's an odd pairing. Over here, a definite pad over there, so two trailers nicely set in here, all grass in between, not too level, but then 377 and 378 over here, one pad. The other pad's barely visible these days, so you can probably do what you want in here, make it work for you, lots of room to play with. 380 and 381, another pair. This one I definitely have two pads because it's terraced down. It's a pad here, a pad down there, and all the grassy space beyond, and lots of sky. 382 here. There's your pad. And then a nice little tucked away space back there. It's somewhat grassy, but doesn't get a lot of sun. 383. Very nice, simple site here. Nice pad to where the picnic table is. Then all grass beyond that. Not many flat spots for a tent back there, but you could easily put a tent right up in here in the corner comfortably and be flat. Starting to catch up to that mower now. 384. Very nice pad, flat, all flat throughout that. It's not a huge site, but the length of that pad is pretty good. Forgot my number, backing up, 385. Again, a pretty nice flat pad, nice place for tents, several spots for that. Very nice, grassy, and lots of sky. All right, 387. Like I said, I'm catching up to the mower. Decent sized pad there, nice and flat. Kind of slopes off after that, but there's still a nice spot over here for a tent as well. Then we got a pair over here, 387 to 388. Uphill slope a little on each pad, and all that space back there. Almost done. 389, nice long flat pad there. Lots of place for tents back there, a nice grassy space. 390, next to a water source. And the end of the loop here, this one's an uphill slope. Flattens off. I could find a flat spot up top there for a Class B or a small trailer, and then your little grassy space to the side where the picnic table is. It would be a great space for a tent. And that brings me back out to the entrance across from the shower building. Well, with any luck, I got enough battery left to do the other half. Were you aware that the Baraboo Hills have terrain? I knew this campground was a little higher than the other one, but whew, it was a long hike up here. All right, 401, 437, 451, 484, 501, 535. Starting with 401, 437 over here with the bathhouse. And we are still on the Ice Age National Scenic Trail. Goes right through this part of the campground. Things are definitely a little different up here. I don't feel as much brush between sites. I can see through right now. It will fill out, but here's 401. Not gonna get a lot of sun in any of these. I got moss in the back, not grass. 402, this one hooks around all the way back there. Some nice mossy area for tents in the back, but they're not level. Huge space over here though. 403 here in the woods. This is going to be very different. There's no pine trees. This is all leafy stuff, so it still hasn't started to come in yet. This is all gravel. We got some rocks sticking up in there, small ones. 404 over here. Moss in the back edges of it. Other than that, it's all gravel. 405 and 406, you would have seen nothing in my driving tour, I'll tell you that. This is a long site. You can put a trailer in here, no problem, any length is gonna fit. But it's all kind of gravelly. And that, 406, smaller, not as long, lots of mossy world in the back there. 408, long pad. Definitely get something of good length in here if you want, or smaller stuff if that's all you have and need. 409, not sure where the water's coming from. Must be coming out of the ground. This one's fairly small, short, little uphill slope, flat up there. Nice spot for a tent though in the back corner. After a water source, we have plenty of water. At 410 right now, the front is very wet, but the back looks fine. Yeah, just a big gravel pad out there. Got a gap for the next one. 411, across from 412. fair length. Not stupid long here. Levels out once you get to the back. 412 over here. This is a nice spot right here. I would happily put my vehicle right here. Small trailer, happily in here. A little bit of grassiness going on back there. 413 and 414, a pair back here, but with separation. This is nice and long in here. Here I've got a pad, it's not as long, small flat spot before the fire ring. Areas for tents back in there. 415, uphill slope going into the site, and only flat spot is beyond the picnic table. So scoot the picnic table over and you could park flatly up behind that. Nice spot, off into the woods, go explore. Okay, we're on the back side of the loop now. 416 over here. Definitely go explore in the woods here. There's a sort of little trail going up and over the hill. Who knows what you're gonna find back there. But there's not a lot of flat spots to camp in here. Over here, 417 on the inside, not backing up to any neighbors, really. This one's pretty big, lots of space in there. Okay, 418 on the inside. This one's nice and flat, easy to work with. Nice flat spot, picnic table and fire ring over in the back, and a little extra space on the side there. 419 is kind of interesting because that over there just feels like used to be a trail of some form. Who knows what's back there? The site itself, there's a flat spot up there. Other than that, it's a tough place to camp in. And this here is the Ice Age Trail coming through this dip here. So there was a different dip over there. Ice Age Trail's over here. Now I'm back on the trail as I continue the loop. 420 over here, that's a nice flat spot. It's actually a great spot if you're traveling the trail and want some upgraded amenities, even though there's not a whole lot here. 421 here. Got a creek in the back, seasonally, like right now, probably dry all summer. Pretty long site back there. Watch out for the rock hiding right there. 422, you can see the parking pad, and then there's a tent spot up top there, picnic table and fire ring over here, and trails going up and over the hill there. 423 and 424 pair. They've taken out the dividing tree in here. Make it work any way you want. Creek runs behind it seasonally. 425. Oh, this is fun. Parking pad down here. Let's go see what's going on up there. Okay, parking pad way down there. Scamper up the hill, fire ring, picnic table, and your nice flat spot without rocks is over there. Otherwise, there are rocks everywhere in this site. 426. Creek running behind seasonally. Nice long flat pad. Got to watch out for the big rock coming up. And there's sort of a flat spot up here for a tent in the mossy area. Fire rings hiding back there behind that rock. Okay, pit toilet, water source, 427 and 428 right here. Definitely pad here. There's a defined spot for a tent there, marked off with some timbers. Fire ring way in the back, same kind of thing over here. Parking pad, defined pad for a tent. At least these have a flat spot. And then your picnic table and fire ring, and then the world falls away. 429. This one's very wet right now. Your parking pad's here. Looks like someone has parked there too, but I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, I'm not sure how to use that one. 431. We got our parking pad going back. There's a rock sticking up just past the picnic table. Fire rings right behind the picnic table. is sort of a flat spot off to the side. 432 and 433. 432 first. Not a huge site, a wide site though. Careful backing up with anything so you don't go over the edge. There's definitely an edge to this one, but you could put a small trailer in here if you wanted, or tents. This one, they just took out some big trees. Still some work to do. I cannot define what it's going to be like. 434. Simple little site, hanging off the edge of a cliff, all gravel. 435. Parking up here, although there is a wet spot in that area, soft spot. And then it's pretty long down there, but it all slopes away. Back up by the restroom, we're now at A5, so an accessible site. This one actually does have a trail going off to the restroom over there with power paved. Then host site over here. Past the restroom, right by the entrance, A6 accessible site. No good trail coming off of this one, not all paved, does have power, but not one of the more accessible sites. 451, 484, next loop. This campground is all about the boulders. 451, decent pad here, slopes down to where the rocks and fire pit are. 452 slopes uphill the whole way, and there is sort of a flat spot way back in there. Picnic table and fire ring over on the side. Just look at all the rocks. They had fun trying to carve a campground out of this. Who needs camp chairs when you got boulders to sit on? 454. Big pad, picnic table and fire ring off to the side. All the room in the world there. 453. Big uphill slope. Then it curves around the boulders and flattens off. 455, 456. 455 on the inside here. Again, sloping up. Then there's a mossy spot back there. Picnic table and fire ring off on the side. 456 over here. Wide space down below. Lots of gravel. It's all gravel. 457. This one's a bit rough. Small pad up top. You can fit a pop-up and a car next to it. Then it drops. I would not recommend going beyond that. As you can see, it's completely drenched, gully cut out there. Probably a bad site to be in when it's raining. It's not raining now and it's still plenty wet. 459, that's a long site. It's just a big, long, straight line. Goes out, dips, and then flattens out again. 461. There's a lot of grass in this one. That's what I'll say. I think you're parking up here, and then it's all grass. You could move the picnic table and drop something there. This one does back up to a road though. 462, 463. 462 first. Nice site. Grassy or mossy area on the side. Long pad. 460, what was I? 3 here. Nice spot over on the side there for a tent or to set a small trailer. Okay, across from a pit toilet, we have 464 and 465, a pair, split by the rocks. It's about the only thing that defines it. 466 here. Not a bad site. Very large. Big old rock in the middle of it all. But you got plenty of room to work with. 467, 468, a pair here. Not level at all. Best of luck. 469. Fairly long pad, slight downhill slope all the way. Then you hit some boulders underground there. And then you hit picnic table and fire ring. 470. Hard to see amongst the leaves here. Definitely have a pad through here. No great place for a tent. I just scared some deer away off in the distance there. 471. This one is forever long. This one just goes forever. Lots of room in there. Bring anything you want in there. 472. We are still backing up against the road over here, but I think it's the last one. Bit of an uphill slope to the whole thing. Decent spot for a tent over on the side. 474. Nice grass spot over on the side for tents. Other than that, that's its primary thing. It's got a lot of room though. 475. This one is a separate one. You got a pad here, then you got to go up to the picnic table and fire ring area on a rise. 476, 477. Okay, 476 over here. Just a lot of room there. Ton of space. I don't know why we got two picnic tables, but we do. 477, is that what I said? Now we're backing up to the other loop over there in the 500s. Kind of close to them. 479. I think we're coming down to the end of this loop. Start to see the dumpsters again. They do stand out. 479. There's a dip coming in. And then it's like a pad across. Hope you're good at fancy maneuvering if you have a trailer. 478. And here, not very long sight. It's fairly short, like again, backing up to the other loop. 480 here. This one's weird. I don't know, don't bring a trailer in this. This is not for trailers. 481. Pretty big site. Big, wide open space there. Bit of a downhill slope through half of it. 482 over here. 484 over there. They're sort of paired, kind of. They're wide open between the two. Uphill slope on both of them. 483 over here. Yep, another great big site. Some interesting rocks in those. And I think that's the loop. All right, 501 through 535. So 35 more sites. I think I got enough battery left to finish this off without being too rushed. All right, when I get to the split here, we got a pit, toilet, and water source right at the beginning. And we're climbing the hill. And starting with 501 and 502, 1, 2. This is nice and level. The site's level at least. And wide open. Just watch out for that tree in the back. 502, little downhill slope to work with. All very wooded. I'm really curious to see how this fills out. I guess if I look at my old video, I'd see. 503. Little downhill slope to it. Yeah, there's no flat spot in this one. There is a flat spot way in the back for a tent. That's about it. 504. Pretty level all the way through here. All sorts of just space in the woods there to work with. 505, pretty much a downhill slope the whole way through. Never really levels off, but it's huge. So much room in there. 506, a little uphill slope on this one, but then kind of flattens out in the back there. I think that'll be a good tent site too though. 507, 508. 507 is another downhill slope going into this one. Wow, you can just see through the trees forever there right now. Huge site. Maybe you could go down, turn sideways, and find a level way to work with it. That is huge. Don't need a pair when you have that one. 508. This one does have a level spot in the middle of the pad. Picnic table and fire rings behind the picnic table back there. Probably get a tent off over there too. 509, slope big hill up, and then a nice level spot for camping up top there, but small. 510. This one's pretty level, fairly long, easy to work with. Nothing challenging in that one. 511. Bit of an uphill slope coming into that one. Boy, this is much easier to see without the trees, without the leaves in them. Kind of mossy back there. There's a pile of rocks, and then I don't know. I don't really see a good spot for a tent in here. Good luck with that one. 512. That one's big and lots of room to work with. Lots of spots you can work out and sun yourself on a rock. 513. Nice flat pad all the way back. That's an easy site to work with. Not monstrous, but plenty big. 514. All uphill slope. There is a nice spot over there for a tent. That one's workable. Water source, pit toilet over there. Now that's some shaggy bark hickory there. That is really coming off. All right, 515. There might be a 516 to this because my next one is 517. Because I got a space over there and a space over there, but I think they've defined it down to just one now. It's just 515. There's no sign for 516. It feels like there used to be over there, but not anymore. Okay, 517. I'm now in the yellow zone of my battery. Uphill slope all the way. There is a flat spot up there for a tent. 518. Long, flat-ish, slight uphill, but easy to level, and a really nice tent spot all the way in the back there that is mossy. 520, we are in the back edge of the park now, far away from everything. Fairly long pad here, nice spot over on the side for a tent over there, and get lost in the woods back there. 521. This one's got a great tent space, flat all the way through. Off and around the corner is a really nice flat mossy area. 522. Uphill slope, and then a lot of nice flat mossy areas, and it feels like where the picnic table was defined as a tent space, and a trail running up mystery over the hill. Gotta get through this run. 523. Flowering trees right now. Probably not by the time place opens up. Big space. You can do anything here. Anything will work in here. It works. Don't worry about that one. Water source next to it. That's actually a new one too. 524. Bit of an uphill slope on the pad, but nice flat area there for a tent that's all mossy soft. 525. Another big open space. Do whatever you want here. Does feel like a nice tent space there where the sun's hitting this moss right now. 526. Not so big. There's a level spot. I could easily put a Class B or a small teardrop or pop-up over there, and sort of mossy area over there for tent. All right, 527, 528, 527 over here. Nice flat spot over in that area for a tent. Bit of a slight grade to the whole pad here otherwise. 528 over here. Plenty of flat spots in there. No space I would say is perfect for a tent in there, except maybe close to the trees. Those trees back there. 529. Pretty flat. Careful what you put here. It does look like it could wash out, but back there you'll be okay. It's all pretty flat back there. You can make that work for just about anything. 530. Definitely meant for tents off on the side there. Another little trail meandering back into the woods. Wonderful wooded little area back here. 531. That's nice and flat. We are sort of backing up to the first loop over there. Big flat space, getting some sun, so getting some grass into that area too. 532, mostly flattish. Definitely flattens off in the back. You can make this work with just about anything in here. 533, oh, we're almost there. 533 here. Nice grassy, mossy area over on the side there, gravel everywhere else. Slight downhill slope to that. Let's see, we got our back to our original restroom at the split, and then we have 534 and 535 as our last pair, and our last sites in Ice Age Trail Campground in Devil's Lake State Park. Definitely pad back there. You can either put a tent or a trailer back there, no problem. Definitely a tent site over there. Big space. Surprisingly, only one fire pit, as it should be. I don't understand these paired sites with separate fire pits. It's just kind of weird. No, my fire, your fire. I don't get it. Well, this has been a long time coming, getting this campground remapped for you on the internet, on YouTube. Walking tour. The driving tour, I'm sure there was nothing visible, but still a popular video because everybody wants to see the sights at Devil's Lake. Hopefully this is more useful to everybody. I got my 10,000 steps in today doing this for you. I hope it was useful. Hope you got something out of it. If you've been here, you got comments about this campground, please share it down below. I'll see you on the next one. Get out and enjoy our public lands.